Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, student. How are you today? I hope you are feeling well. For the first, let's pray and thanks to our God, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, who has mercies and blessings so we can attend in this case. And don't forget to greeting, salam and salawat for our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Before we start to study, let's us open it with reading Basmalah together. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, student, anybody knows what we are going to learn today? Yeah, today's topic is present continuous tense. Do you know about that? So, the present continuous tense is the basic tense. It's usually one of the first tense that you start to learn when you start studying English. However, it doesn't exist in every language, and it might not exist in your language. So it's possible to make mistakes very easily in its basic tense. So we don't want to make those kind of mistakes. So just stay with me. We are going to go through it step by step. Okay, I'll show you exactly how to use it. Well, do lots of practice together and you will understand and be able to use it. So, are you ready? Let's start it. So, there are two basic tense. First, to start to talk about the present. They are the present simple, the present continuous, okay? We know it has two names. I'm just going to use one name. So, what's the difference? Let's look at some example in each of these tense. So, in the present simple, I would say I work. In the present continuous, I would say I'm working. So, what is the difference between these two? I'm working talks about something that's happening right now. For example, I'm teaching. You are watching. You are listening. Or it can also talk about something temporary, like you are watching this lesson this moment, but also for a short time. Short is a general idea, okay? So, could be something that's happening now, or something temporary. However, we use I work in present simple to talk about things that are true in general. I work in company, but I'm working now. Or I work in this company, but I'm not working now. I'm having lunch. See the difference? Okay? We also use present simple to talk about things that are more permanent, like your job, right? You don't change your job usually every day. So that's the basic overview and the basic idea. And how do we actually form this tense? We form it by using the subject like I, you, we, they, he, she, it, and plus the verb to be, plus the verb, plus ing. Let's look at an example. I'm working. So, we have the subject and the verb to be, and each form of the verb to be. I'm working. You are working. We are working. They are working. He is working. She is working. It's working. Okay, like the computer, the air conditioner, whatever. Okay, so that's the basic overview of this tense. Now, let's look at when we use the present continuous tense. So, as we saw earlier, we can definitely use it to talk about something that's happening right now. For example, the baby is sleeping. Don't make noise, okay? Or for example, oh, it's raining outside. Alright? So these are examples of something happening right now. We can also use this tense to talk about something that's happening around now. For example, he is writing a book. So he may not be writing it this minute, but he's writing it around now. We don't know how long it'll take, but it's happening around this time. So we can use it in this context. For example, we could also say he's working on a project. Maybe the project is going to take 1 week, and maybe it'll take 1 year or 10 years. We don't know, but it's happening around now. Okay? Next, we can also use it to talk about something temporary. Not something that happens all the time, but something temporary. For example, that book, right? We don't know, maybe it's going to take him 3 years to write the book, but in his mind, it's not something that's going to last forever. It's something temporary, okay? So this is more about how you look at what is happening, or this example, something temporary. We are staying at hotel. We live in our home. That's permanent, but right now, while we're in the city, while we're traveling, we are staying at a hotel. That's something temporary, okay? Next, we can also use it to talk about trend. A trend is something that's changing, okay? Something that's developing. For example, the prices of homes are increasing. Let's say the prices were here, and now the prices are going up. So we can say the prices are increasing. Some sort of change that are happening. And we can also talk about a trend in terms of something that's popular. We talk about things, fashion trends, for example, right? People are wearing a certain color. People are wearing bright colors this summer. People are wearing curtains kind of shoes. So we can talk about trends using this present continuous tense, alright? So there are the basic ways in which we use this tense. But I just want to let you know that there are also two slightly more advanced ways in which we can use this tense. So let's look at what they are. The first one is to talk about some kind of repeated action, but it's usually something negative. So they are always making noise. That's a negative remark, right? Usually, we use words like always, never, sometimes, frequently, and so on to talk about present simple. Something that's true in general. For example, they always help us. Or just to talk about facts. But when you're talking about something negative, then very often we can use this present continuous tense, but that's a slightly more advanced way to use it. So don't worry about it too much, but you might hear people using it that way. And another point, I know that I said this is called the present continuous, and it talks about the present, not the past, not the future. The present, however, sometimes we can actually use it to talk about the future, but only in a special way. So let's look at what it is. If I see she's flying to Mexico next week. Now, if I didn't say next week, if I only said she's flying to Mexico, what does it mean? It's happening right now. So, when I want to use this tense to talk about the future, I have to say something like this. I have to say next week, tomorrow, next summer, next year. I have to give it some kind of time in the future, and then you can use present continuous for the future in a slightly more advanced way. Okay, so those are the basic ways in which we use this tense. Now let's look at when not to use the present continuous tense. So first of all, everything here, all these examples, they are wrong, okay? And we're going to understand why. So we can't use the present continuous tense to talk about any permanent action or activities. For example, for most people, where they live, where they work, these are more or less permanent. They don't change every day. They're not temporary, right? So, if I live in Canada all the time, then would be wrong to say I'm living in Canada. That will only be okay if it was something temporary. Similarly, if I work at ABC company and that's my permanent job, so that's the most common kind of mistake that people make. So be really careful of that. Similarly, we have stative verbs. This is another area that you have to be really careful about. Why? Because in English, there are two kinds of verbs, action verbs and what are called stative verbs. So, action verbs are your normal verbs that you know most of the time, like work, run, play, jump. Okay? And stative verbs describe a state or a condition. It could be a mental state. It could be an emotional state. Okay? And with this tense, we can't use stative verbs. And in fact, in any continuous tense in English, you can't use stative verbs. Let me give you some example of stative verbs. For example, it will be wrong to say, I'm understanding English. No, you can't say that because understand is a stative verb to do with your mind. So it's wrong to say that, okay? This are all wrong, okay? It would be wrong to say, we are liking this show. Liking is wrong because like is a stative verb. So we would need to say, we like this show. I understand English, okay? Similarly, here, when you talk about verbs that refer to what you own, what you possess, what you have, we can use the verb in the stative form with this tense. So, it will be wrong to say, they are having a car. You will need to say, they have a car. Similarly again, there's a long list of stative verbs, but the verb needs and the verb wants are very common verbs which are usually stative verbs, and therefore you can't use them in this tense. So, it will be wrong to say, are you needing help? You will need to say, do you need help? Okay? So, whether you have learned the present simple or not, don't worry right now. Just understand that with the present continuous, you can't use stative verbs, so everything here is wrong. Okay, now let's look at how we form the present continuous tense. Let's start by looking at a sample sentence. I'm working. So we saw that there are three parts. I, which is the subject, in this case, which is form of the verb to be, then we have the verb work, right, and then we have ing. Alright, so in a positive sentence, it will be I am, you are, we are, they are, he is, she is, it is. Now, when we say the verb to be is one of the most common verbs, but it is used in two ways. One is by itself. For example, I can say, I am a teacher. Or we can also use the verb to be as a helping verb. As it's being used in this tense, then I could say, I am teaching. Now, the verb to be become a helping verb, but one way or the other, whether I'm using the verb to be by itself or I'm using in this context, then I still need to know exactly how to use the verb to be. So, now let's look at the negative. I am not. You are not. We are not. They are not. What do you notice? We're just adding not, right? Let's do it a little bit more. He is not, she is not, it is not, okay? Right now, don't worry about this last part. We're going to add that soon, okay? Let's just get this part right, the verb to be, alright? Next, let's look at when we have the verb to be in a question or in our tense. So, what do we do? Instead of saying I am, we say am I? If you have the verb after that, you say I'm working, and so on. But we'll look at that in a minute. Right now, just master this part. It's critical parts of understanding and using this tense correctly. Are you? Are we? Are they? Right? The same at the bottom here. Is he? Is she? Is it? Alright? So make sure that you can use the verb to be so that you can use the present continuous tense correctly. Now, let's look at how we form the full present continuous tense. You already know the verb to be. Now we'll say a positive sentence, a negative sentence, and a question. So you can repeat after me. It will be very good practice to also hear the correct form. I'm working. You are working. We are working. They are working. He is working. She is working. It is working. Okay? Got it? Good. For the negative, it's very easy. You just add not before the verb plus the ing. So, not working, right? You are not working. He is not working. They are not working. Like that, okay? It's very simple. Just take this and it's not working. Now, for the question, we have to reverse the order. So, instead of saying I am, we say am I? Right, just like with the verb to be. Some things. That's why I told you the verb to be is so important. It's part of this tense. So repeat after me the question. Am I working today? Are you working? Are we working? Are they working? Is he working? Is she working? Is it working? So that's your basic question form. Now remember, you can always add a question word before that. For example, you could say, when are you working? Where are you working? How long are you working? But what is important? What's important if you do that is to keep the same order. Keep your question order. Don't turn it back into a sentence. Just add the question word like when or how long or why or something like that, and keep the structure. When are you working? Where are you working? Why are you working? And so on, okay? And that's how you form the present continuous tense. Now, let's practice what you've been learning. So we have some positive sentences. We're going to work with some negative ones and some questions. So first, we'll take a sentence which is in present simple and we're going to change it to present continuous, okay? Number 1, I go becomes what? I'm going or I'm going, alright? You can also contract it or shorten it. We wait. Let's use the contracted form and turn it into the present continuous form. We wait becomes what? We're waiting, right? We're waiting. We are waiting. We're waiting. Good. Now, we have a sentence that's already in present continuous. What we want to do is to change it to the negative form in the present continuous. She's calling. How can we make that negative? There are two ways. She's calling, make it negative. She's not calling. This is one way. And the other way, she isn't calling, right? Now, the question. So right now, it's just a sentence. Let's see how we can make it into a question. They are buying a new car. Make it a question. It's really easy. Got it? Yes. Just move this around. Are they buying a new car? And of course, the first word will be capitalized and the second word will not. She is doing her homework. Make it question. What is it? The same thing. Is she doing her homework? Good. And if you're writing it again, it will be capital for the first letter and then not capital after that. So the conclusion for the method of present continuous tense is the present continuous tense, also called present progressive, is a verb tense which is used to show that an ongoing action is happening now, either at the moment or speech or now in a larger sense. The present continuous can also be used to show that an action is going to take place in the near future. Present continuous use the first now. Use the present continuous with normal verbs to express the idea that something is happening now, at this every moment. It can also be used to show that something is not happening now. For example, you are learning English now. You are not swimming now. Are you sleeping? Okay. Second is future action in progress now. In English, now can mean this second, today, this month, this year, this century, and so on. Sometimes we use the present continuous to say that we are in the process of doing future action which is in progress. However, we may not be doing it at this exact second. Example, I'm studying to become a doctor. I'm not studying to become a dentist. I'm reading the book Tom Sawyer. Okay? The third is near future. Sometimes speakers use the present continuous to indicate that something will or will not happen in the near future. Example, I'm meeting some friends after work. I'm not going to the party tonight. Is he visiting his parents next weekend? Okay, next. Repetition and irritation with always. The present continuous with words such as always or constantly express the idea that something irritating or shocking often happens. Notice that the meaning is like simple present, but with negative emotion. Remember to put the words always or constantly between be and verb plus ing. For example, she is always coming to class late. He is constantly talking. I wish he would shut up. I don't like them because they're always complaining. Okay class, we will stop here. That's so material about present continuous tense. Thanks so much for your attention. Have a nice day and all the best with your English. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.